This is TVC News Hour. I am Moses Omoghena with the business update. Nigerian government says it has ratified the Abidjan-Abuja Corridor Treaty and approved over $2.25 million for the power sector. Nigeria's Minister of Works, Mike Onomoleme, says the establishment of the Abidjan-Lagos Corridor amongst the governments of the republics of Benin, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Togo and Nigeria would facilitate safe and efficient movements of persons and goods, regional and international trade and transport by improving on the road infrastructure. He added that it would also simplify and harmonize the requirements and controls that govern the movement of goods and persons, with a view to reducing transportation costs and transit times. And the need for Nigerians to embrace Islamic non-interest banking was re-echoed in Lagos at a forum on Islamic banking in Nigeria, its legality, challenges and prospects. Professor Bola Ajibola, who led other speakers, says the Western style of banking has failed the country. He added that the Islamic system of banking will not only liberate the nation's economy, but will boost the growth of small and medium-scale enterprises. He stressed that if the system is implemented, the percentage of unbanked Nigerians will be reduced to barest minimum.
When we talk about this issue of Islamic banking, there is a lot of goodies, I will call it, that will come out of it. It is commercially viable, it is definite, it is just, it is fair, it is reasonable, and it benefits the giver and the given.
It is very, very important that Muslims should have institutions, financial institutions that will comply with the position of Sharia, and that is Islamic law. In fact, more Christians patronize Islamic institutions, financial institutions, than even Muslims. That one is even a function of our lifestyle.
So CBN is putting a lot of measures in place. The Bank of Islamic Bank has got financial inclusion units. A lot of other banks are coming up with that. We've got a FINA, they've done a lot of research. We're trying to make sure people use the banks more and all that, which is interesting. We've got mobile money now, you've got a lot of things you can do, We've got agent network. Of course, you also got Islamic banking and non-interest banking. So practically, yeah, a lot of measures have been put in place to make sure that people use the formal financial system more.
Representatives of the Nigerian government and the United States are scheduled to hold a meeting bothering on issues pertaining to security at the Nigerian airports. Ahead of the meeting scheduled to take place in Washington, the Nigerian Minister of Aviation, Osita Chidoka, and the U.S. Ambassador to Nigeria, James Entwistle, say Nigeria needed to tap into the U.S. expertise to make the nation's airports more secure and productive. They confirmed that the Category 1 certification, which the U.S. granted to Nigeria some years ago, would also be top of the agenda at the meeting. Chidoka says there is a lot of cooperation from the United States in terms of capacity building, regulatory and commercial improvements. And the Board of Directors of African Development Bank Group, AFDB, has approved a total of $256 million for the financing of investments in Nigeria and Ethiopia. This comprises a $150 million senior loan to Lekki Port Lagos Free Trade Zone Enterprise for the construction of a greenfield seaport in the LFTZ. The loan for the project followed a 45-year concession granted to Lekki Port Free Trade Zone Enterprise. For Ethiopia, the AFDB said it would contribute $5 million equity investment to the establishment of Kukuza Project Development Company, a new firm that would focus on early-stage design and preparation of African infrastructure projects. And the government of Ethiopia has provided 100 hectares of land in the Tigray region in Mekelle City to Velocity Apparel PLC for construction of a modern garment factory with an initial investment of $150 million. The State Minister of Industry, Tadesse Haile, said that project is important for Ethiopia as it has major economic benefits. The CEO of Velocity Apparel, Sihas Senaha, said construction for the project will begin this month and it will take about 5 years to complete. The company, which has plants in Egypt, the United Arab Emirates and Jordan, also received a loan from the Development Bank of Ethiopia for the establishment of the garment manufacturing factory. And Zimbabwe has been told to pay $180 million in Chinese loans repayment or facing losing its credit line. Zimbabwe Finance Minister Patrick Chinamasa said China is tightening its lending terms and expects debtors to be more accountable. In the absence of funding from Western countries, Zimbabwean government has borrowed more than $1 billion from China over the last 5 years. Zimbabwe's total foreign debt currently stands at $9 billion. Extended droughts and unpredictable rainy seasons. Those are the effects of climate change in Kenya, and farmers are struggling to adjust. Details from this report.
Climate change in Kenya is devastating many smallholder farms. But now there's a program that offers training and money in exchange for carbon credits.
We have seen the climate change. The rains now are different than they were before. We cannot predict anymore when it is going to rain.
Many smallholder farms here were already degraded, the trees cut down for fuel, and the soil open to erosion. But a program called the Biocarbon Fund is hoping to change farmers' fortunes in Kenya. The Biocarbon Fund trains farmers in sustainable agriculture and gives them cash if they plant trees that reduce carbon. Farmer Ben Olich says that once he started using more climate-smart techniques, his farm improved.
What I liked about the training I received from the project is that it emphasized diversification. When one crop fails, I can still benefit from another enterprise.
The extra income generated from planting trees also helps many families that were barely surviving before.
Since I joined the Biocarbon Fund project, our life has really changed, because when there is income in the family, there is peace.
According to the Biocarbon Fund, tree planting in Kenya has already reduced 25,000 tons of carbon. The program hopes to train 1,000 small farmers in climate-smart agriculture.
And that brings us to the end of the business news at this hour. It's back to Mike and Kemi.